Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam was undoubtedly, undeniably and indisputably the Prophet of compassion, the Prophet of mercy, the Prophet of dialogue and engagement. But our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam was also the Prophet of justice, the Prophet who stood with the oppressed, with the needy and with the downtrodden. And as we enter the month of Ramadan, as we enter the sacred month, we are reminded of the best example given to humankind, the example of our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and we try to strive in all our actions to exemplify his example. The month of Ramadan, like the life of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, carries both the message of compassion and of giving, but it also carries the message of striving towards justice. And indeed, it was in this month of Ramadan that we saw one of the most significant battles taking place in the history of Islam, the Battle of Badr. In the Battle of Badr, you have a mere 300 Muslims up against over 1,000 enemy soldiers of the Quraysh. The enemies of Islam at that stage were well equipped, well armored and well trained. What did the Muslims have on their side? They had the love of Allah, they had the taqwa that we learn about in the month of Ramadan, and they had the example of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. It is this taqwa today that we are seeing perhaps one of the best examples of on the streets of Palestine, specifically on the streets of Al-Quds, and even more specifically, on the border separating the Gaza Strip or the Gaza ghetto from the Israeli regime. It is here on the streets of Gaza in the last 6 weeks that we have seen Palestinians, young and old, mothers, fathers, grandparents, and children coming out week after week for the last 6 weeks now, insisting to fight on their feet rather than to die on their knees. Palestinians have been coming out onto the Gaza Strip in what they have termed the Great March of Return. Palestinians who literally have the keys to the doors of their houses, who can see their homes on the other side, but who are prevented entry by the murderous Israeli regime. They are insisting to come out week after week, even knowing that they are in the crosshairs of the Israeli snipers' rifles. Palestinians are asking us to join them in solidarity and in support on the 15th, that is this coming Tuesday, to lend our solidarity and support to them. And so we are calling on brothers and sisters, young and old, to come out in the same spirit of taqwa that drives the Palestinians, to face up to the mighty Israeli regime. We are asking you to join us in solidarity with the Palestinians on the streets of Cape Town, from Keizersgracht to Parliament, starting at 11 o'clock. Some may ask, what is the point? What is the point of these protests or of these actions and activities? Your coming out onto the streets of Cape Town last year forced our government to reject a delegation coming from Israel that wanted to visit our parliament. Your coming out onto the streets of Cape Town in November last year led and insisted on our government taking the initiative to prevent the Africa-Israel summit from taking place on our continent. Our solidarity and our support, our coming out onto the streets of Cape Town is not just a matter of lending our support to the Palestinian people, but it's also about pressurizing the Israeli regime. I'll end on just one. The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, according to Bukhari, you know, in the political world, there's this saying, an injury to one is an injury to all. But our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam went further than that. He spoke about how the feeling of compassion and solidarity amongst believers is like that of a human body. When one limb aches, when one limb is in pain, the rest of the body is kept up in sleeplessness and fever. It's not just about feeling the pain of another, it's also about responding to the pain of the other. And that is the spirit that we're asking you to join us on Tuesday, inshallah. Shukran. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.